This one thing changes the entire narrative around the New York Rangers this season, as their defense is set to shock the rest of the NHL. And we're going to break down exactly how they plan to do that, and one player that is going to stand out above the rest that other fan bases and other people are dumping on. But we're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 77% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your New York Rangers, go down below, hit that free subscribe button, because this channel is built for blue shirt fandom, and it's the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers content and news. And Bret, let's get right into it. There's been a lot made out of the New York Rangers defense heading into this year because it was such a problem last year, and we broke it down in other videos in terms of how it affects the goaltending. But the defense itself, we got to talk about it. We got to get into it because it looks different this year. But the first thing I want to start with is Bald Panarin had his projection for what he believes, or what they believe the lineup should look like heading into this season. And he had some interesting things here. We're going to get into it in terms of who should be where. I want your thoughts on this, Bret, as well, because a lot of people have differing, opinions on what the defense should look like. But nonetheless, the biggest question here is, does Soucy rebound in the new system, or do they look to trade Soucy? Because that is a lot of money wrapped up in a guy that is a question mark at this point heading into next year. But this is what Bald Panarin had. Obviously, your first pairing, I don't think anyone would have anything different than that. It's Gavrikov, it's Adam Fox. The second pairing is Schneider on the left side on the second pairing. Don't mind that, with Will Borgen. I think that does make some sense. Then on your final pairing there, in the third pairing, you have Carson Soucy and Scott Morrow. There was also a typo here. It's not that Scott Morrow is waiver eligible, he is waiver exempt. So keep that in mind. And Urho Vakanainen would be your seventh defenseman on the outside looking in. So just based off this, do you like these lines heading into the year? I feel like a lot of people do have Vakanainen on the outside looking in. Would you do anything different with this? And we'll take a look at the Puckpedia lines as well.
Yeah, first things first, when it comes to Ball Panarin's lineups here, the first line I agree with, obviously. It's a can't miss for Mike Sullivan. If he tries to get too cute here in his first year as Rangers head coach, mixing and matching, trying to find the perfect balance, this, that, and the third, nonsense. What you have to do is you have to put Gavrikov and Fox together. There's a reason why you targeted and heavily coveted this player and Vladislav Gavrikov. There's a reason that Gavrikov wanted to come to New York, not just because he's friends with Artemi Panarin. We heard Emily Kaplan of ESPN. We heard Larry Brooks, Rangers insider from the New York Post, talking about this. Gavrikov wants to play with Adam Fox. He hasn't played with a player like this before. They have the perfect skill sets that complement each other. Obviously, we have to see it on the ice, but on paper, it sure does look great. I believe they have a chance to be a top five defensive duo. The reason I believe that, Darius, is because what we saw out of Adam Fox and Ryan Lindgren the past few seasons, especially when they were really clicking on all cylinders, that was a top 10 defensive duo, in my opinion. You bring in Gavrikov, who's a bigger, better version of Ryan Lindgren. I really do believe the sky is the limit for that first pair, so don't mess around. Establish that identity. That's what every playoff team has in common. They have an identity. They have a DNA. So
Yep.
put Gavrikov and Fox together. Here's the second pair, Schneider and Borgen. I actually like this combination. We know what Borgen brings to the table. We know he's going to block shots. We know he's going to hit people. Braden Schneider making the move to the left side. We know what he brings to the table. We know his skill on the offensive end. We know what he could do as a defensive stopper. He's going to be able to handle the puck because Will Borgen's not going to give you that. You look at this third pair here. Obviously, we don't like Carson Soucy, but if the Rangers have no choice and have to play him, if they can't trade him, or if Chris Drury believes that he could revert back to the player he was in 22-23 and even 23-24, if Chris Drury believes that this past season was an outlier, this could be an interesting pair as well, Darius, because Carson Soucy not going to bring you anything on the offensive end, but he does have a big presence, obviously very big in stature. We didn't see that physicality, unfortunately, when the Rangers traded for him. If you look at, just judging off the eye test, didn't look very engaged, but hopefully he could turn it around. Scott Morrow, he's going to give you that offensive upside. He's going to give you that calm ability to control the puck, give you that option on the second power play unit as a quarterback. So that would be an interesting pair, in my opinion. I'd rather go a different direction. I'll bring it up here in a second, but I do like these lines here from Bald Panarin.
Yeah, and I think that these lines do make quite a bit of sense in terms of, you want to find some balance. Vakanainen, again, on the outside looking in. We can't forget that you have Matthew Robertson waiting in the weeds as well. But obviously, I don't think he would make the lineup over any of these guys because of the salary cap and all of those things as well. This is what Puckpedia has right now. Obviously, that first pairing is the same. You have Susie on that second pairing with Borgen instead, and then you have Schneider and Morrow. I do agree that I think Vakanainen should be probably on the outside looking in because of the salary cap structure. And I do think that Scott Morrow, considering he's a right-hand shot, how young he is and the offensive upside, should be in the NHL. He should take the leap and he should be in the NHL full time. But I do think that personally it should look something like this because I think you have to protect Scott Morrow. I don't know if you can put Carson Soucy with Scott Morrow because he does have that inexperience at the NHL level. So I do worry a little bit about that. So I would move Schneider, I think, or I would leave it this way as it currently is, I should say. Although I do think Schneider and Borgen could make some sense. But the way I'm seeing it right now, Gavrikov, Fox, yin and yang, love that. That's why you acquired Gavrikov. When you go to the second pairing, Soucy Borgen could be looked upon as a shutdown pairing, could make some sense. And then Schneider Morrow, you got the young kids there flying around, so I don't mind that one either. But I'm not to say that Bald Panarin's lines are bad. I'm just saying that maybe, we're going to have to look into it a little bit more. I do want to move on to some of the Adam Fox disrespect, talking about the defense, Bret, because there's been some disrespect out there online on Adam Fox's name. He's been called, that he's not elite, all of these things. He is an elite offensive defenseman, not just offensive defenseman, but underrated defensively as well. This is from Jay Fresh. The Adam Fox disrespect is a sign that either one, you've only seen one game from him in the past year, and that it was the Four Nations final because he wasn't that great, let's be honest, or you're one of those Rangers fans, and we all know what they're talking about there. But this is from Statboy Steven, saying what you want about Adam Fox to be better. Does not mean you're saying he had to be bad last season. By NHL standards, he was actually very good, and by Adam Fox standards, he wasn't good, and that's what the expectation is now. So I understand that from the fan base, but he is a great player. No player since he's entered the league, 4,000 minutes, keep that in mind, has had a bigger impact than Adam Fox on his team's 5-on-5 goal share. It's absolutely unbelievable, right? A lot of people are calling him a power play merchant, all of these things. Bret, what do you make of Adam Fox heading into this year? I think he's going to have a great year. Again, I think the expectations for him to be elite all the time. Of course, they had a down year last year, but to say that he's a power play merchant, all these other things, like this is one of the best defensemen in the entire NHL.
Yeah, it's laughable, Darius. I look at Adam Fox similar to Igor Shesterkin in the sense, we spoke about it in a video or two ago where Igor Shesterkin, yeah, he may be coming off his worst season as a Ranger, but if you put it up against, goalies like Jordan Binnington, it's still better in certain categories. So a bad year for Igor Shesterkin is still a very good year for other goaltenders. A bad year for Adam Fox is still a very, very good season for a defenseman. I mean, this is a multi-time 70-plus point scorer, not far removed from it. Over 60 points this past season. The guy has never been a minus, never been in the minus category, in the plus-minus category in his entire career. When it comes to the plus-minus in hockey, it holds more weight as a defenseman than it does as a forward. It means that, opposing teams aren't scoring as many goals. So Adam Fox has done his job his entire career. I expect him to have a great, great season. Not saying he's going to win the Norris Trophy, but I certainly expect him to bounce back. I was listening to a podcast recently and Spittin' Chicklets, and one of the hosts was talking about how he's heard that Adam Fox has trained really, really hard this past season. Not that Adam Fox hasn't trained in the past, but he is just really going hard in the weight room, really making sure that he puts himself in the best position to bounce back. And Darius, we spoke about it here in a previous video. Not just Adam Fox, but we've seen highlights of JT Miller, Vincent Trocheck really working hard this offseason. Gabe Perreault working very hard to make the Rangers roster. It seems like Mike Sullivan coming in to coach the Rangers here, and after that bad taste that was left in their mouths after last season, finishing as poorly as they did, it seems like it sort of lit a fire under many players' rear ends here, to have a bounce back season. And I really believe we're in store for that. And Adam Fox, I believe he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. And the Four Nations face-off, I said it, There might be some recency bias there because of how poor he did perform in that final, but make no mistake about it, this is still an elite defenseman, top 3 in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the best defensemen in the NHL. And I think he has a chip on his shoulder heading into this year. He wants to make not only an impact, but he wants to be, again, at the top of the list, at the top of the league, make an impact. He wants to lead by example too. So I think that he took a lot of that and what happened last year personally. And also, you make a good point. We've seen videos, Trocheck, Miller, the goaltenders, Adam Fox are all, working out, trying to be their best for this year. Adam Fox is getting older, right? He's trying to do different things with his body to get ready for this season, and he's dealt with some injuries and all of that. Gabe Perreault, like you brought up, this really gives you an inside look into, I'm sure Mike Sullivan had a conversation with a lot of these guys as he was hired that, hey, there's going to be no free squares here. You have to earn your, your keeps here on this team. And it really gives you a sense of who cares and who wants to make an impact this year too. And I think that's very exciting. So we want to hear what you have to say in the comments about everything we covered today. The disrespect against Adam Fox. Who would you put on the defensive pairs? Could it be something else? Would you have Matthew Robertson there? I think that could be very interesting. Let us know in the comments below. The conversation always continues there. It also continues on X. You can find that in the description. The link is there. So let us know how you feel. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.